Sarah had always been unlucky in love. She had been on countless dates, but every time she thought she had found someone special, things would quickly fall apart. She was starting to lose hope that she would ever find someone who would truly love her for who she was. One day, her friend convinced her to go on a blind date with a guy named Jack. Sarah wasn't sure if it was worth the effort, but she decided to give it one last try. When she arrived at the restaurant, she couldn't believe her eyes. Jack was tall, dark, and handsome, and he was dressed in a sharp suit. He greeted her with a warm smile, and she felt her heart flutter. They ordered their food and talked about their interests. Jack was charming and funny, and Sarah couldn't help but feel drawn to him. As the night went on, they shared stories about their families and their past relationships. But just as Sarah thought that things were going well, Jack suddenly became quiet. His expression turned cold, and Sarah could feel a knot forming in her stomach. "Is everything okay?" she asked tentatively. Jack sighed and looked down at his plate. "I'm sorry, Sarah. I can't do this." Sarah's heart sank. She had been on so many bad dates before, but this one felt different. She had really thought that there was something special between her and Jack. "What do you mean?" she asked, her voice shaking. "I mean that I can't go on like this. I can't pretend to be interested in you when I'm really not." Sarah felt tears welling up in her eyes as Jack got up to leave. She had been so close to finding love, but it had slipped through her fingers once again. Days passed, and Sarah couldn't shake the disappointment she felt. But then, out of the blue, Jack called her. "Sarah, I'm sorry about what happened on our date," he said. "I was going through a lot of personal stuff at the time, and I took it out on you. I shouldn't have done that." Sarah was hesitant, but she decided to give Jack another chance. They started talking more and more, and Sarah found herself falling for him. They went on more dates, and things seemed to be going well. But just as Sarah was starting to let her guard down, something else happened. Jack suddenly stopped returning her calls and messages. She couldn't understand what had gone wrong. Had she done something to push him away? Days turned into weeks, and Sarah began to lose hope once again. But then, one day, she received a package in the mail. Inside was a letter from Jack, explaining that he had been dealing with some personal issues and had needed some time to himself. He apologized for disappearing, and he promised that he would make it up to her. Sarah wasn't sure if she could trust Jack again, but she decided to give him one more chance. And this time, things were different. Jack was attentive and caring, and he showed Sarah that he was truly committed to making their relationship work. Years later, Sarah and Jack got married in a beautiful ceremony surrounded by their friends and family. As they exchanged vows, Sarah couldn't believe how lucky she was to have found someone who loved her for who she was, flaws and all. She knew that their relationship wasn't perfect, but she also knew that they had overcome so much together. And that made their love even stronger.